your name and what you do.
Sure. So my name is Scott Salter, and I run my own little small company where we make a lot of commercials and trailers for mostly the video game industry, but we also do tech. We also do it for tech companies and other types of companies. And I also love to volunteer my time, as you know, for organizations like yours to help create videos for you and others.
Yeah, that's true. So as the founder and of course the team lead or CEO, as you may call it, so how does your average day look like?
So these days it's mostly like managing. It used to be a lot of the actual, day-to-day work where I used to do all the editing myself and I used to go and do all the filming myself when I was beginning. But this many years later, as I've grown, I now have people who help, and most of my time is allocated in talking to clients, who want to hire us, and doing meetings like over Zoom or in person when in the before the virus, where we'd meet in person and talk about projects, or I go and do a presentation to tell a potential client why they should hire us to do a video for them. Or then I also manage the videos that we are currently doing. So sometimes that involves one of my editors is editing something and he'll send it to me and I look it over and I listen to it and I give him back notes on what he might want to do to change certain things to make it better before I send it to the client. Because I don't like to send anything to the client until I've seen it and approve it. So a lot of it is it's like being a manager in this position, which is funny because I definitely never thought that that's what I'd want to be doing when I started all this. I thought that I'd always be the guy editing things, but now I'm just like managing a bunch of stuff.
And I guess that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. But you know what's fun actually is when I get to, for instance, working on your projects, or sometimes there's a project that needs me to do the actual editing. And when there's enough reasons for it, then I do, and I sit and I edit. And those times are fun because I remember why I began this in the first place and why I do this in the first place, because something happens to me where I feel really good and happy when I'm creating.
So how do I frame this question now? Now you have been doing this for years, right?
But yes, basically since I graduated.
Wow. So did you know that you'll be doing this while you were still in school?
So yeah, for me, it might be a unique story because I grew up with a lot of friends who didn't really have the same experience where they kind of always knew what they wanted to do. It's most common that you don't really know what you want to do. But when I was young, I'm old. So when I was young, I saw a VHS video camera. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever because I saw my sister, she was working on a project. And I saw how she could make herself be on TV with this video camera, this big, ugly video camera. And I thought, and I was like about 7 years old, and I saw her doing it, and I was like, this is so cool. I can be on TV. So I thought it was so cool. And from that point forward, I played with the video camera and I made little movies. And ever since I was a kid with my family, with my friends, I was always making videos and always making movies. But my family told me as I was growing up that it's very hard to get into this type of business, which it is. So they wanted me to, do school, and they wanted me to go to college for, a sort of like a regular kind of trajectory to maybe just in case I didn't get to do this type of stuff for work, and that I could always do this type of stuff as a fun side thing. So that's why I went to college at UC Berkeley, and I studied mass communications, which wasn't exactly doing video work. Um, but but I always made videos. Even when I was in college, I had a video camera and I was filming my friends doing goofy things and we'd edit things together. And I was always making videos on the side and playing video games. So I would play video games and I, and I had no idea that making videos and playing video games would come together to actually do a business. So that just was lucky, I guess.
I play video game as well. I love video games, but on the fun side, not the business side.
Okay.
Okay, so there are two key things I picked from what you just explained. One, so your family try to explain to you that it is important that you go to school. That so
Yes.
even though you want to become a video editor, it is very key that you have that education. So it shows the importance of education. So now, are you happy that you went to school? And how has education helped you in doing what you're doing now better?
Yes. So I would say the immature side of me, the more playful side of me says, forget school. I don't want to go. Okay. And when I think of it, I'm like, I didn't need it. Forget it. Right. But the more wise, educated adult side of me understands how much it has helped me in my life. Because when I was younger, I thought, well, I'm so good at making all these videos. That's all I need to do. But when I got an education and went to college, I learned all these other important aspects of what it means to become an adult and run your own business and create what I've created today, which is I have a company and I have employees and I have to know a lot of things to do that. I don't just need to know how to make videos. I also need to know how to manage my taxes and my revenue streams, and I need to know mathematics for that. And beyond that too, there's another piece that I've actually heard people who've hired me say to me, which I think is important to say, is they've said they notice a difference between video editors or video people they've worked with before who did go to college and people who didn't go to college. And that there's this added intelligence and added, I don't know, it's more of like, there's more dynamic understanding when you've gone through 4 years of college. Whereas if I was just a video guy, I would just be the video guy and I wouldn't have all this other experience and knowledge to apply to the unique situations that happen, because these videos are for all sorts of things. And there's so many variables that happen to you when you're creating the videos. And those variables, if you didn't have a college education and other types of knowledge besides video creation, you wouldn't be able to handle all the unique situations that come up with intelligence and wisdom. But that being said, there is a side to me where it's like, forget it. Like, why do I need to take exams? Why do I need to listen to teachers? It's tempting to say, I don't need it, but I know how much it's helped me create the business I've created, have intelligent conversations with my clients where they can tell that I'm not just a guy who knows how to create videos. Because honestly, if I didn't go to college, I probably would be working at a company instead of having my own business. And I'd probably be just doing one task that I knew how to do, which is just editing. And I wouldn't have these other parts of me that allowed me to know how to manage employees, know how to be personable with clients and have intelligent conversations with them and things like that.
Yeah. So I could say that going to school also helps you become more dynamic. So beyond the technical skills, so you acquire some soft skills along the line as well. And the second thing I picked from your previous explanation was that while you were still in school, you were still doing your video, right?
Yes.
So maybe in the modern world now, in the current state of things, so it's like doing an internship while in school. So if you want to become an engineer, you're studying engineering, so you find opportunity while in school to intern as an engineer, to learn some practical things that the four walls of the school may not teach you.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's really important. I don't know what it's like in college now because I graduated in 2002, so I'm very old. But when I was in school, uh, there's there's really important things that you learn in school, but also there are things that you're not really learning in classrooms. So it's not like only school is good and other stuff is bad, or only other stuff is good and school is bad. It has to be a mixture. You have to find out who you are by yourself. You kind of have to understand, what are things that I really like? What am I really motivated by? You know, am I very excited about political things? Am I very excited about environmental things? Am I very excited about technological things? You have to know that about yourself. And then you have to feed yourself the knowledge from many sources. And school is a great source because it's organized and you have incredible resources like intelligent people who have worked and been in the field. Like someone like me might go teach about video things at a school. So you get insight from really important people and different resources at school. But outside school, you have to nurture your interests. You have to go and do things that are, well, we used to call it extracurricular. I don't know if that's still a word, but outside of school where you're nurturing the side of you that you're very motivated by.
True, true. Okay, so yeah, so while in school, there are certain soft skills that you should acquire that will help you perhaps stand out among your peers when you graduate. Because you may study engineering, for example, but you still need some certain soft skills that cut across all career field. So something like communication skills. So you need to acquire that, and you have also explained some of that. So will you be able to mention some specific soft skills that you think are very relevant across all career field that young people should acquire
Sure.
while they are still in school?
Sure. I think the most important one, I have a good friend of mine who he once said to me, because I used to think, even back then, before I went to college, I was thinking how I kind of didn't want to go. And I had a really smart friend of mine say to me, if nothing else, when you go to college, it proves to people in the future who might want to hire you or bring you into their team that you are someone who can commit to 4 years of difficult education and process, and that you can finish that. And when you have that kind of ability, it sets you aside from a whole bunch of other people who didn't do it, because it's not easy. You have to be organized. You have to meet deadlines in school. You know, you have a essay due by Friday. You have you have to study for exams. So the soft skill I would call is learning how to deal with things that you don't really like that much, but you know are necessary to be a part of a team and a collective, and then making a commitment that you stand by and that you finish, is a huge skill that you learn in school, because in regular life, you don't really have that big of consequences if you kind of flake on things or don't really follow through. You don't have huge consequences. Whereas in school, you do, because then you have to repeat an entire class or maybe even get kicked out if you don't. So you learn how to be part of a team and how to commit to the teamwork, and follow through on that work so that you can finish, and then of course hopefully get an A. But even if you finished with a C or a B, that shows that you've committed and followed through and done something. And I think a lot of people who didn't finish college, they don't get that important necessary skill of like what it means to be committed and follow through.
So Scott, I've never heard it from that angle before about commitment, and it makes a whole lot of sense, really. That being able to stay in school for 4 years and pass through the rigorous process and exercises shows that you can't be committed to something. That's a new angle, and I'm sure everyone who will watch this video will appreciate that aspect. Now, from your experience, what are the innovative ways you have seen that technology is being used for education? Because as you know, for us as Noble Missions, our idea is to leverage technology to advance education. So from your experience in the US, what are those innovative ways you have seen technology being used to advance education, to make education more accessible, of better quality and all that?
Yeah. So myself, of course, I'm so old, so I haven't been in the education system. But what I can say is that certainly the idea of the internet being there is such a different thing than I had when I was in, when I was in grade school or high school. Having this access to all of this information is incredible. And so I know that in schools now, because I do have some nieces and nephews, they have iPads and well, not iPhones, but they have iPads in their classrooms where they're learning how to use this technology so that they know how to organize and access and search for this information so that they know by themselves how to get through this. When I was young, I had to go to a library, and in that library, that book that I needed might have been checked out or gone. But now everyone can access the same data simultaneously. It's like having an infinite amount of books that everybody can see. And so that is a huge step forward for people to have access to information. There's no such thing as a checked out book anymore on the internet. And not only that, there's incredible access to people who are in the fields that you're interested in, doing videos and explaining things on YouTube and other places that was never even a possibility in the past, where you can watch someone who is a famous, incredible filmmaker or a famous, incredible architect, and you can watch that person explain to you how they do what they do. And that's like, I mean, that's incredible. How back in the past, you'd have to watch like a documentary or something that person agreed to, and then you're only limited to that little bit. There's such a free flow of information, and podcasts or something like that's happening here with you and I, these things are so accessible. So I think that in the US, of course, I'm seeing young people are so much more technologically aware and savvy, even more so than the adults. Definitely the adults older than me. They're like a lost cause when it comes to, but these kids, they're so young, they already know how to scroll through videos and find and search. And that is going to make this new generation of people so much quicker at figuring out what it is that they're trying to figure out. And it's a good thing. It is. I know right now, politically, it's sort of a bad thing because a lot of people are seeing misinformation, but I have a lot of faith and hope. And I believe that it's going to eventually mean smarter people who are quicker at figuring stuff out than we ever were able to in the past.
True, true. I agree with that last statement, Scott. So, not finally, I still have one more question after this. So, for a young person who probably still in school and aspiring to become a filmmaker like you, an editor, so how should such a person go about it?
Okay, so I was lucky. I have to explain that because I think that a lot of people feel bad when they don't know what they want to do. And what I would say to most people is that most people have no idea what they want to do. Most people feel lost. Most people are confused. Okay, we're like weird human beings on a planet, and we don't know what's going on. So it's okay to feel lost and confused. Most of us do. I still look like I have my stuff together and I'm doing well, but I am confused sometimes too. So don't feel bad if you don't know what you want to do is the first thing, okay? The second thing is, so I will say from my own experience, in case it's helpful, I just happen to always have a really strong passion for making videos and filming things. So I knew that no matter what, I was going to go and do it. Even if I was going to make money or not make money, I was always going to be doing this. So that understanding to me fueled me and motivated me to not listen to what other people said about it. If someone said, oh, well, you'll never make money, or, oh, you know, it's impossible to be a filmmaker and things like that, it didn't matter to me because I knew that no matter what, I wanted to do it. So even if it was going to be a side fun thing for me, I was going to do it. And so what I suggest to most people is try to stay close to the things that you naturally like and want to do. Some people naturally like to be around kids, okay? And they want to have a classroom and they want to be a teacher, okay? Some people naturally like to be around, I'm trying to think of some examples here, but like food, okay? Maybe they love food and they love the flavors of food and everything. Maybe that means that they're going to do something close to food for a living. It doesn't have to be a chef. It doesn't have to be a waiter. It doesn't have to be anything. Don't define what it is. I never thought all my things were going to end up being what they are today. I thought I was going to be a director of movies because I thought that's what you do when you like this stuff. But it turns out that I do like directing. I like going and directing stuff, but I honestly don't think that that's my favorite part. My favorite part is sitting with a lot of the footage that is captured. And I love sitting alone and piecing things together and adding music and watching it come woven together into something beautiful. And then that I can share it. That's one of my favorite parts. So you'll be surprised with where everything leads. I already forgot what was the actual question?
Yeah, so my question was for someone, I think what you said now has answered my next question. So I won't ask my next question again. So, but what I asked was for someone who wants to go into filmmaking like you.
Oh, filmmaking. So if they want to do what I do.
Yes.
Okay.
So what are those steps? So what are those steps they should take while still in school to prepare?
Sure. Okay. So definitely. Oh, that's right. I remember what I was going to say. So when I was young, I knew I liked this stuff. And I had created a project for school back when we had to do projects with like poster boards and like draw things and say like, you know, oh, this. I used to ask my teachers, can I just make a video? And they would say yes. So I used to make videos. And one of the videos I made was like, I used clay to make like a little animated thing, okay? Where I just pressed record and pause to make an animation. And someone that my parents knew saw it and they thought, wow, you have a lot of talent. I want you to see what it's like to be on a real film set. So they took me, okay? But I'll never forget what she told me, okay? Because I asked, what do I do if I want to do this? I want to be here on this film set. I want to do it. And she said to me, and I love this, she said, you cannot make any mistakes right now as being a young person who's interested in this stuff. Right now, what you're supposed to do is go and try things. Try this school, try this internship, try this and this. Try on all the different coats or whatever, you know, before you figure out which one you're most comfortable and what you like the most. Because you can't make a mistake when you're young because you have time to try things to feel what they're like. And she said that in the film industry, and I agree with this, they're not necessarily looking for this person who went to film school and then learned all the history of film and learned about everything about editing and they don't necessarily just want a person like that. They want a person who can contribute from their own unique experience, from having traveled to different countries, from having learned a different language. Maybe you decided to major in Spanish and learn a different language like Spanish. that actually is helpful if you then decide to go into the film industry, because then you're the person on the set or you're the person in the office who knows how to translate something into Spanish, and you also like to do film stuff and you know film stuff. So the idea is you don't need to only focus on film if you want to enter film stuff. You can do a lot of things and become a unique, dynamic person who has traveled, who has learned a lot of things in different school. And then if you decide that you still want to enter the film world or do video work, you can join that workforce with this dynamic personality that you have, that you can contribute to the unique situations that happen in the film world. That's the advice. Oh, and also, of course, if you're interested in doing stuff the way I was when I was young, always do it. Find excuses to film stuff. Like just go out and make videos all the time of anything. Like just come up with concepts. You don't need someone to pay you. You don't need a person to tell you how to do it. Do it yourself. Nowadays, it's amazing because you can film on your phone, and you can even edit it on your phone. When I was a kid, I had a big VHS, like VCR, and I pressed record and pause to do my editing. And it was awful. Like there's ribbon effects, and it's like, and I couldn't edit music because it would be just terrible. But that was the best I had. Now you can do like precise cuts. It's amazing. You have so much at your fingertips now. So go create and keep going and create, but don't only think about film school, because film school is good. And if that's really what you want to do, that's okay. But it's also okay to like go and get a major in some other studies, go and get a good education, and then come join the workforce with this unique background that you have, because the film industry is full of people with different backgrounds from different places.
Oh, thank you so much, Scott. So in a nutshell, so it's like while you are learning, while you are in school, be doing things. So it's an opportunity to make mistakes, because nobody's going to punish you while you're making mistakes as a student. So as you're making those mistakes, you are learning, you're becoming more versatile. So when you graduate, it's easier to hit the ground running because you have learned how not to make mistakes, so to speak. Wow, it's been an inspiring time talking with you, Scott, and I hope we get to do this again soon.
Yeah, anytime. It's my pleasure, and I look forward to the next video project I get to do with you.